guys, it's Bonnie. Welcome to my latest video. I thought today I would talk about definitions of type 1 diabetes. So I've actually got a couple on my phone loaded, definitions from different websites, and I thought I'd read them and then discuss my views on what words we used and all that sort of stuff. The first one is on NHS UK. So I literally just typed in type 1 diabetes, and what comes up is about type 1. Type 1 diabetes causes the level of glucose, in brackets sugar, in your blood to become too high. That's technically true. It happens when your body can't produce enough of a hormone called insulin, which controls blood glucose. Okay, I have a slight issue with that, because type 1, when you first get diagnosed, you are still producing a small amount of insulin, and till that stops, you're in what's called the honeymoon period. And I don't like the fact that it says can't produce enough. So my body doesn't produce any insulin, as far as I know. No one's ever told me that it produces any insulin since I've been diagnosed. So I don't particularly like that part of this one. You need daily injections of insulin to keep your blood glucose levels under control. I think that needs updating, because you don't only have to have daily injections. You can have a continuous insulin pump, which is what I have got now. Managing type 1 diabetes can take time to get used to, but you can still do all the things you enjoy. This guide is here to help. Well, obviously I'm not looking at the whole guide, but yeah, I agree with that. It does take a while to get used to. And then the last bit it says is type 1 diabetes isn't linked with age or being overweight. This is type 2 diabetes. I don't like that. I don't like that because, no, it's not linked with age or being overweight. In fact, they haven't got a definitive reason why someone gets diagnosed with type 1. But also, you don't have to be old, you don't have to be overweight to get type 2 diabetes. So yeah, that's the NHS UK one. Then I went on diabetes.co.uk, and their page says type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease that causes the insulin producing beta cells in the pancreas to be destroyed, preventing the body from being able to produce enough insulin to adequately regulate blood glucose levels. Yeah, I agree with that. That's pretty much how I would describe what is type 1 diabetes in a nutshell. Yeah, autoimmune disease. Yeah. My immune system sucks. It then goes on to say type 1 diabetes may sometimes be referred to as juvenile diabetes. However, this term is generally regarded as outdated, as whilst it is commonly diagnosed in children, the condition can develop at any age. I like the fact they've put that in there. So I was diagnosed at 5, and so yeah, I was a child. And so juvenile diabetes kind of works with that, but I also know people that were diagnosed as adults. So yeah, I like the fact that they've put that in there now. Insulin-dependent diabetes is another term that may sometimes be used to describe type 1. Because type 1 causes the loss of insulin production, it therefore requires regular insulin administration either by injection or by insulin pump. Yes, I like that. I used to have a medical alert bracelet that had insulin-dependent diabetic written on it. I don't have one anymore because I didn't like wearing it. So yeah, that's diabetes.co.uk. I like theirs. And then we've got Diabetes UK. About 8% of people with diabetes in the UK have type 1 diabetes. It's got nothing to do with diet or lifestyle, it just happens. We're still not sure what causes it. I like the fact they've put in nothing to do with diet or lifestyle, and they don't know what causes it. When you have type 1 diabetes, your body attacks the cells in your pancreas that make insulin, so you can't produce any insulin at all. Yeah, pretty much the same as the last one. And we all need insulin to live. It does an essential job. It allows the glucose in our blood to enter our cells and fuel our bodies. Okay, that goes into a little bit more depth about what we need the insulin for, so that's quite good. When you have type 1 diabetes, your body still breaks down carbohydrate from food and drink and turns it into glucose. But when the glucose enters your bloodstream, there's no insulin to allow it into your body's cells. More and more glucose then builds up in your bloodstream. Well, yeah, I agree with that, but it just stops there. So when more and more glucose builds up in your bloodstream, you feel really, really rotten. And you need that insulin to keep a healthy balance of the glucose in your bloodstream and your cells. You need a healthy balance. I think they should add a little bit there, but that's not too bad. So the last one I looked up was JDRF. What is type 1 diabetes? Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition. For reasons we don't yet fully understand, your immune system, which is meant to protect you from viruses and bacteria, attacks and destroys the insulin-producing cells in your pancreas, called beta cells. Good start. Insulin is crucial to life. When you eat, insulin moves the energy from your food, called glucose, from your blood into the cells of your body. When the beta cells in your pancreas fail to produce insulin, glucose level in your blood starts to rise and your body can't function properly. Over time, this high level of glucose in the blood may damage nerves and blood vessels and the organs they supply. So they've gone into a little bit more detail about what happens when you get all this glucose in your bloodstream that you can't shift because you haven't got the insulin. It actually goes a little bit more in depth into it. I like you can't function properly. That's a good way of putting it. This condition affects 400,000 people in the UK, with over 29,000 of them children. Incidence is increasing by about 4% each year, and particularly in children under 5, with a 5% increase each year in this age group over the last 20 years. So that is the last one. I have to say, I'm the most disappointed with the NHS's one. And all the diabetes specific websites are diabetes.co.uk, Diabetes UK and JDRF. They've all done fairly well. Obviously they've all put different amounts of information in, and I think when you get diagnosed and the first thing that pops into your mind is, what the hell is this? And I think another common question is, why me? I don't remember exactly what happened when I was diagnosed. I know that I was very confused and I didn't like the needles. Those are the two main things that I remember from it. But I know as I got older and I looked into it a bit more, I realised that when you're diagnosed as a child, they might give you all the information, the same information, or roughly the same information, as when you get diagnosed as an adult or a teenager. But children typically don't retain as much information when they're scared or when it's confusing, except like anything like that. And so I might have been told everything, I might not have done, but I did not know what diabetes actually was until I was older. I used to think, similarly to what a lot of people have told me in my life, that it just meant I couldn't have sugar. But obviously that's not quite it. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this, and leave me a comment or a like, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you again soon. Thanks, bye.